You can do so much with PDFs and ChatGPT, and in today's comprehensive tutorial, we're going to cover summarizing, analyzing, editing, and extracting insights from PDFs in ChatGPT, all without any plugins. There is so much to cover, so prepare to level up and let's get right into it. Now, summarizing PDFs in ChatGPT is one of its most popular use cases. So let's start with the PDF ebook and go over everything you need to know to save time and get effective results when summarizing PDFs in ChatGPT. Just a note, most of these features are currently only available on ChatGPT Plus or Enterprise plans. First, I have an ebook released by the Dallas Fed that aims to help people build wealth and a secure financial future. Let's start simple and ask ChatGPT to summarize the key points made in the ebook. And in just a few seconds, it gives us a pretty good summary of the ebook, including the topics it covers, such as understanding financial terms, saving and investing, and it also covers key strategies such as making wise investments, maintaining good credit, and so forth. It then goes on to let us know how the book emphasizes the importance of informed decision-making in financial matters and offers practical steps towards achieving financial stability and growth. Pretty cool summary. Now, since we prompted ChatGPT to act as a knowledgeable financial advisor, let's ask it to further explain on effective budgeting. It once again then reads the PDF and gives us pretty actionable summaries of the key topics covered with effective budgeting, such as categorizing expenses, setting spending limits, adjusting habits, and sticking to the plan. This is such a great way to interact with already helpful documents in a way that makes sense to your own situation. Next, let's see what it does when I present it with a question specifically related to the context of the ebook. I'll ask it what the best way to save an emergency fund would be. And once again, it sources from the ebook to give us a clear and concise answer. And the really cool thing here is that it gives us a specific example from the ebook by mentioning Anthony, who sets a goal to add $500 to his emergency fund within 1 year. These features are awesome and just the tip of the iceberg. But already, by using ChatGPT to summarize and query this PDF, we were able to quickly extract the insights and knowledge that are most relevant to our own situation. Okay, let's move on to a really fun use case, analyzing PDFs in ChatGPT to extract financial insights about a certain tech company we're interested in. For this one, I'm going to be using financial statements from Apple, and more specifically for the finance nerds, their 10K. Simply put, a 10K is a comprehensive report filed annually by public companies such as Apple about their financial performance. Full disclaimer, I'm not at all a finance person, and all this is for illustrative purposes only, so go easy on me if I get some definitions wrong. Now, this PDF is 80 pages long and full of text, numbers, and graphics, so this really is going to be putting ChatGPT to the test. First, I'm going to be a bit more elaborate with my opening prompt to make sure we set ChatGPT down the right path. However, definitely feel free to experiment with this one. So the prompt will be, attached is Apple's most recent 10K report. Your job is to act as a knowledgeable and insightful finance commentator. Can you give me some key insights and commentary about Apple you've gained from reading this report? Your comprehensive insights should be well-structured and expand on key points that a business analyst would find interesting about Apple's business health and trajectory. This is really cool, as ChatGPT proceeded to give us a pretty good summary outline of the 10K report. Now, when I was testing out these features to make this tutorial, I tried to get ChatGPT to generate charts based on the financial data in the 10K file. But because our PDF is 80 pages long and contains over 40,000 words, initiating complex data analysis tasks on the entire PDF file proved far too much for ChatGPT. But OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT, are continuously working on improving just how much data ChatGPT can analyze in a single prompt. So I won't be surprised if this limitation quickly goes away in the not-too-distant future. However, for today, not all is lost. For this next part, I'm actually going to be using a different and much shorter PDF that focuses on Apple's financial statement to generate visual analysis from our PDF document in ChatGPT. Later on, I'm also going to show you how easy it is to split a PDF right in ChatGPT for further analysis. Okay, so with our financial statement from Apple in hand, let's ask it to generate interesting visuals. I'll ask it to act as a knowledgeable and insightful financial analyst whose job is to generate insightful charts and well-structured commentary about Apple's performance. It then proceeds to give us pretty insightful commentary about the financial results. I will take a bit of time to walk through each section here, as this is truly amazing, as a task like this would have taken an analyst hours just a few years ago to complete, and yet with ChatGPT, this sort of analysis can now be done in a matter of minutes. First, ChatGPT opened with a summary of the document, letting us know that includes information such as net sales, cost of sales, gross margins, and so forth. It then proceeded to let us know that it's going to analyze the data and create insightful charts and provide us the requested commentary. After which, a bar chart was created, which compares the net sales, cost of sales, gross margin, operating expenses, and net income for different time periods. The amazing part here is the commentary it provides for each of those areas in these paragraphs below. For example, the cost of sales has decreased in Q4 2023 compared to Q4 2022, and similarly for the full fiscal year. This reduction in costs could be attributed to improved supply chain efficiency or cost-cutting measures. This is really cool, especially in the fifth point about net income, when it lets us know the net income, which is a key indicator of profitability, has increased in Q4 2023 compared to Q4 2022, reflecting better overall financial management despite the slight drop in sales. However, when looking at the full year, net income in 2023 is slightly lower than in 2022, which could be a point of concern. Truly spoken like an actual business analyst. Then the last paragraph goes on to summarize Apple's financial performance, letting us know that while the company has managed to improve its gross margins and net income in the quarter, the slight decline in annual sales and net income might require strategic adjustments to sustain growth and profitability in the long term. Truly amazing. Now, this next section is going to blow your mind. We're going to be using a collection of academic papers to help us with research, ideation, and problem solving. More specifically, our use case will be to build a GPT that acts as a research assistant to help answer questions about high-intensity interval training. The GPT will be basing its answers on 2 academic research papers we'll be giving it and using as knowledge sources. Okay, here are the 2 papers in question. First one, which I found in the World Journal of Cardiology, is titled High-Intensity Interval Training for Health Benefits and Care of Cardiac Diseases: The Key to an Efficient Exercise Protocol. And the second one is a meta-analysis from the Frontiers in Physiology journal. And of course, another disclaimer here, I'm not at all a health or research professional, and this is just for illustrative purposes on the possibilities of what you can do with PDFs in ChatGPT. To get started, head over to the Explore page and select Create a GPT. Before we get building, head over to the Configure tab and make sure Code Interpreter is enabled. Code Interpreter allows the GPT to access and analyze our PDF files and draw insights from them. Okay, back on the Create tab, my opening prompt will be, you're a knowledgeable research assistant that specializes in high-intensity interval training research. Your goal is to provide easy-to-understand insights, observations, and summarizations related to high-intensity interval training, solely based on the research papers attached. Okay, the GPT builder then goes on to summarize the 2 pieces of research I attached. From experience, the GPT builder can still be pretty buggy. For example, sometimes after your first prompt, it will ask you to generate a name and profile picture for your GPT, whereas in this case it didn't. But not to worry, as we can easily do that on the Configure page. Let's name our GPT HIIT Helper, who's a specialist in research providing clear insights from scientific papers. Let's briefly review how ChatGPT translated our prompt into instructions for the GPT. I really like what the GPT builder did here with our PDFs. For example, it mentioned that it should avoid providing general fitness advice or information not directly sourced from the provided papers. Pretty cool. Our conversation starters made by ChatGPT look pretty good, and I'll leave them as is. And scrolling further down, we can also see our knowledge files attached to the GPT. Next, let's hit save and take our GPT for a test drive. I'll ask it what the research says about high-intensity interval training benefits. It then reads the knowledge files and proceeds to give us a pretty comprehensive answer, covering areas such as cardiovascular health, time efficiency, and general benefits. I really like the caveat it gives in the last paragraph here, letting us know that the studies were conducted over relatively short periods of times, 5 days to 26 weeks, and the long-term adherence and effects on recovering stress states are not fully known. Okay, building GPTs with custom knowledge from select PDFs really does unlock a world of limitless possibilities, as you'll be able to build GPTs that have very specific domain knowledge that you can then use to really ramp up your productivity and creativity. Moving on, believe it or not, you can create and edit PDFs right in ChatGPT and with no plugins. Now, most of the functionality and formatting output is still pretty basic, but if you're ever in a pinch and just need to get something out in the world quick, this can definitely be a time saver. To demonstrate these incredible features, let's set our use case to be a copywriter that publishes short stories for a sci-fi magazine. For the sake of brevity, I'll give it a detailed opening prompt that should give us everything we need in one go. The prompt will be, you're a renowned sci-fi copywriter that publishes short stories about distant galaxies. Your stories are creative, vivid, and should be under 150 words. Every time you write a story, you must also create an image that best resembles your story and place it at the end. Can you write me a story? And just like that, with a pretty convincing short story, though it forgot to include my image. So let's ask for that. Now, to be fair, I'm not sure if it actually forgot the image or if ChatGPT simply can't generate text and images in the same prompt, so your mileage may vary. Though I do like the image generated as it is very outer-worldly. Now, let's prepare our story for export. We'll ask ChatGPT to format the story so that it includes the title and the image, and the last step will be for it to then export it as a PDF. It then proceeds to format the story and tries to include the image, yet there is an error. With the error being due to technical limitations, it was unable to include the image in the PDF. However, from having experimented with this before, I know that no such limitation exists, so let's try again. And success. So one thing to know when using ChatGPT is that things are still a bit buggy. So sometimes an error doesn't mean something is not possible. It just means you need to try again. Okay, even though a generated PDF is very basic, this feature can come in handy when you're in a pinch. Another really cool feature when working with PDFs in ChatGPT is its ability to reorder, add, or even delete pages from a PDF. Remember that 80-page 10K PDF? We could break it up into say 5 parts to allow ChatGPT to better analyze only the sections we need without overloading it. So let's do just that. I'll bring back our 10K PDF and then ask ChatGPT to break it up into 5 parts. ChatGPT then successfully breaks the PDF into 5 different parts, with each one being about 16 pages. In our example here, Part 3 contains the balance sheet, so let's ask ChatGPT to summarize Part 3, though there is a catch, as we'll see in just a second. As we can see, at first ChatGPT struggled to make sense of this document, but it persevered and then proceeded to give a pretty comprehensive summary of the balance sheet. Sometimes ChatGPT does struggle to read PDFs it created itself. So it may be better to download the PDF, re-upload it, and prompt ChatGPT using the version you uploaded. Now, all these are very handy and useful features for basic PDF management without having to get a service such as Adobe Acrobat Reader. Though for more advanced actions, you're definitely going to need another tool, at least for now. Okay, when it comes to summarizing, analyzing, and even generating ideas from PDFs in ChatGPT, the possibilities can seem endless. However, there are still certain limitations you need to be aware of. First, it's often better to split very large PDFs. From experience, working with large PDFs tend to lead ChatGPT astray, at least for now. Also, 25 megabytes seems to be the hard cutoff for PDF sizes in ChatGPT. Next, PDF formatting options in ChatGPT are still very limited, as we saw before with our short story. So if you need more control, you're still better off crafting your PDF in another tool such as Adobe Acrobat Reader or even Microsoft Word and exporting it as a PDF. Also, scanned documents and images tend to be read at a lower accuracy. So whenever possible, try working files that were digitally created. Another thing to note is that password-protected PDFs won't work, and ChatGPT can't interact with forms, links, and other interactive media contained in certain PDFs. Lastly, and this is a big one, confidentiality. Depending on the type of PDFs you're uploading, always be mindful of sharing sensitive or protected information when working with AI tools such as ChatGPT, and particularly when working in the GPT builder and sharing public GPTs. Okay, awesome job making it here. By now, you should be well equipped to handle PDFs in ChatGPT like a pro. So whenever next you're dealing with PDFs and looking for ways to supercharge your creativity and productivity, remember that you can use ChatGPT to summarize and analyze PDFs, generate charts and analysis based on uploaded PDFs, build custom GPTs that leverage multiple PDFs as sources of knowledge, use ChatGPT to ask it questions about the data contained in your PDF, and lastly, you can also create, edit, and split PDFs all in ChatGPT without using a single plugin. So how do you plan on working with PDFs in ChatGPT? I'd love to know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one.